If you spent any time on social media lately, you've probably come across the viral Turkish pasta recipe. When I first saw it, I was like, wait a second, how did I not think of this? After all, I grew up eating this dish. But it makes so much sense. It's a perfect celebration of flavors and texture in a meal you can whip up in just about 30 minutes. More than anything, it's a beautiful testament to the variety and richness of Turkish cuisine, and I am so excited to share it with you today. Before we dive in, if you're not familiar, let me quickly explain. This recipe went viral thanks to Anna Pohl, who shared a video of her mom making this recipe on TikTok. It's a simple yet flavorful dish made up of 4 key components: pasta, a spiced ground beef, an onion mixture, a creamy yogurt sauce, and the chili butter drizzle. It is a simplified version of a traditional Turkish dish called manti, which is like dumplings filled with spiced meat and folded by hand. Making manti is a labor of love, and it takes hours and often a whole team to prepare. This version captures all those bold, comforting flavors, but swaps in pasta and the quicker cooking process, making it perfect for busy days. Alright, now that you know what Turkish pasta is all about, let's make it together. We'll start with the base of the dish, our pasta. We'll bring a large pot of generously salted water to a boil. Think of ocean water salty. We'll add 8 ounces of farfalle or any other short pasta like fusilli or even penne would work, and cook until it is al dente, which should take about 9 to 10 minutes depending on the brand you're using. While the pasta cooks, we'll grab a large skillet and place it over medium to medium-high heat. Once it is nice and hot, we'll add 1 pound of ground beef. We'll saute it, breaking it up with a wooden spoon for about 4 to 5 minutes or until it is no longer pink. Now you might be wondering, wait, where's the oil? Don't you need oil to saute meat? And that's exactly what I thought at first too. But in the video, she skips the oil, explaining that the beef releases its own fat as it cooks. Even though I use 93% lean ground beef, I found that she was right. It worked beautifully without any added oil. The key here is to make sure that you're stirring it to ensure it is cooking evenly. That said, if you're using a leaner cut of meat or just prefer to add a bit of olive oil, feel free to drizzle some in. My mom would have added oil for sure, but this method is a nice little shortcut that keeps things simple and lean. While the meat is cooking, we'll reserve about half a cup of pasta water and drain the rest. Back to the meat. Once the meat is semi-cooked with no pinks left, we'll add 1 medium-sized chopped onion, 1 tablespoon red pepper paste, 1 teaspoon onion powder, 1 teaspoon ground cumin, 2 teaspoons sweet paprika, half a teaspoon kosher salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of ground black pepper. We'll cook it stirring regularly until the onions are softened and the meat is fully cooked for about 5 to 6 minutes. We'll use the reserved pasta water to keep the sauce moist as needed throughout the process. Let me pause here to explain 2 important details. First, the red pepper paste. If you're not familiar, this is a quintessential Turkish ingredient, as common as tomato paste in Turkish cooking. It adds a mild umami flavor that makes the sauce rich and flavorful. If you want to stay to the original recipe, you can find it online. I recommend Turkish, my favorite brand. That said, tomato paste is an excellent substitute if that's what you have on hand. Second, adding onion after sauteing the meat. I'll be honest, I was skeptical when I saw this in the viral video. It's definitely not how my mom made it. But when I tried it, I was pleasantly surprised. Adding the onion later preserves the onion's flavors better, creating a distinct and delicious contrast, much like the filling in traditional manti. It's a little different, but I thought it was very good. Next, let's move on to another Turkish staple, the garlicky yogurt sauce. Though I have to mention, this isn't just a sauce for this dish, it's a cornerstone of Turkish cuisine. You'll find it paired with everything from vegetable dishes like Turkish-style olive oil braised green beans to meat dishes like Turkish meatballs and even some grain dishes like bulgur pilav. Its creamy texture and tangy flavor make it a versatile condiment that ties so many recipes together, and this pasta recipe happens to be just one of them. To make it into a bowl, we will place a cup of Greek yogurt, 2 cloves of minced garlic, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, and half a teaspoon of kosher salt. Give it a good whisk. Now, I used Greek yogurt, also known as strained yogurt, which has a rather thick, creamy texture, but if all you have is regular plain yogurt, that would work too. Okay, at this point, we have 3 out of 4 components of the recipe ready. This last part, the chili butter drizzle, takes less than a minute to make, so we'll do it at the very end. In a small skillet, we'll melt 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter over medium heat. Once melted, we'll add 1 teaspoon of sweet paprika, 1/4 teaspoon or more of red pepper flakes, and 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt. Okay, a couple of notes here. If you're using salted butter, skip the extra salt to keep the balance just right. For the most authentic flavor, try using Urfa chili pepper or alata pepper, which are both available online, and add a beautifully smoky, slightly spicy note. And of course, if you love heat, feel free to add a bit more red pepper flakes. We'll stir and cook everything until the butter is fully melted and bubbly, which should take no more than a minute or two. To assemble into a pasta bowl, we'll place some cooked pasta and top it off with 4 tablespoons of the yogurt sauce and 2/3 of a cup of cooked beef. We'll then drizzle it with a tablespoon or more of the butter sauce. Traditionally, this dish is sprinkled with dry mint and sumac. If you can get your hands on them, feel free to add a sprinkle for that authentic Turkish touch. Alternatively, you can also garnish with some fresh parsley, and I also like to top it off with a handful of chopped tomatoes for a pop of color.
I'm gonna go eat this.
Well, that sums it up for me today. I am so thrilled to share this iconic Turkish dish with you. It's one of those timeless recipes that has been loved for generations, and thanks to social media, it is now also the perfect modern-day dinner for busy schedules. If you need more information on ingredient substitutions and make-ahead and storage instructions, you can find more details on foolproofliving.com. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them below. And if you're open to exploring more Turkish flavors, be sure to check out the extensive library of Turkish recipes on my website. From rich and aromatic Turkish coffee to hearty stuffed eggplants and even the classic sesame-coated simit, there's something for everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. I'm gonna make generously salted. Here we go. Let me start. All I want is a ladylike bite, but it's not cooperating. I'll be honest, I was skeptical. I'll be honest, I was skeptical when I saw this.